Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo. Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Kooplings, and welcome back to the Nintendo Shack. My name is Donnie Reese, and tonight Rebecca and Garrett join me in recording episode 131 of the Nintendo Shack podcast. And if you thought we were done talking about E3, you would be sorely mistaken. But before we do that, please allow me to express our thanks to those that help keep the boat afloat over at patreon.com/PSVG. So thank you, Callow, Barry, Josh, Coach Mo, Chris, Devin, Kyle, Paul, Michael, Zach, and Nick for all that you do in supporting us over there. Hope you enjoy this month's DLC, which dropped today, the day that we're recording this, and it's a two-parter. That's right, Dev and I recorded so much just sitting there gabbing around the microphone that we had to release it in two episodes. We could not release it as one. Patreon was like, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. So you've got one today, and you'll have part two tomorrow. So, guys, crew, Shack, what's up? How are you guys doing? I feel like we haven't spoke much this week, but I also kind of feel like that overall, just generally, I haven't been speaking much to many folks this week. How are you guys doing?
No, you're not alone. This has been kind of a crazy week, a little bit busy with all sorts of stuff, at least for me. Work has been a little bit busier, just kind of general feelings of stress piling up.
Yeah. We're reopening everything. That's making everything great.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, I'm doing all right, too. Again, I'm busy as well. Got my last final ever on Monday. So,
ooh, good luck.
Stressing out about that. And I'll be studying a lot. Not much time to do other things in the next few days. But other than that...
Will you get to relax afterwards?
I don't think so. That's the PhD.
Never ends.
It never ends.
Never.
All right. Well, let's kick off the week like we do each and every week by talking about what we're up to in the gaming space. And if you don't mind, I'd like to start because before I even tell you about the games I want to talk about, guys, I think there's something wrong with my Switch. I think it's broke.
Which one?
No.
My Switch Lite. So I picked up, and I'm going to say this, but I want to be clear before I do. I'm not 100% placing blame on a game, but I noticed an issue happening when I started playing Mortal Kombat. I picked up Mortal Kombat. It was on Amazon deal last week. Or you guys, if you follow me on Twitter playing Nintendo, you probably saw the deal alert. It's like $14 or something. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I'll try Mortal Kombat for that. And I downloaded it, and I downloaded the patch, put the card in, tried to play it, so you got download patch. Get into the game, try to go play the tutorial, says, like crash error code, whatever. I didn't even read it, just like, this is done. Tried to restart the game, told me that the file was corrupted. Okay, delete the game, re-download everything. I actually played Mortal Kombat for a couple hours. Ever since then, and it might have something to do with that. It might have something to do that Switch or the Nintendo put out a new patch. We got the 10.0.2 patch this week.
Yep.
I don't know, but every time that I've tried to play my Switch Lite since then, if I try to download a game, it's all corrupted. Everything. All the time. It's whatever game file. Telling Lies was corrupted, which I'm going to tell you about. I tried to download Xenoblade. After we got the Xenoblade news, I was like, well, because my Switch Lite is not my home console. It's not my primary. It's my secondary. So every time because I always buy everything online at my computer and just push the updates to my Switch at home. So when I bought Xenoblade, it installed on my wife's Switch, on the Animal Crossing Switch. Let's just call it her Switch from now on. It installed on her Switch. Not mine. So I'm going to go download mine. Nope. Download the entire file. I'll watch it go all the way up. And then right at the end, when it tries to install, X corrupted, can't do it. It did that with 2 or 3 other games. I don't know. And I was even want to say, it might be maybe something wrong with Ninjala, because I was having all kinds of issues with that too, which we'll get to. But anyway, long story short, I've been messing around with it all day. And I think it's the SD card.
That was going to be my question. Did you try taking out the SD card and installing anything on just the system memory?
I did, and it worked.
Okay. That's a good sign.
Is it though? It means that my very expensive SD card is broke.
I think what you have to do is put your SD card into a PC or whatever. They format the files in there, the folders in there. So I'm sure if you delete everything and jam it back into the Switch, it'll reformat the SD card, and you can re-download games and go from there.
So what I did right before we started the show is that's what I did. I just bit the bullet after messing around with it for several hours, because it takes forever to even download a test. Even a small game takes forever to download. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to bite the bullet here and let's just nuke it. So I formatted the entire card and everything, but I have a 500 gigabyte card. I really don't want anything to be wrong with it. It's gonna suck. But hopefully.
Better than the Switch, though. No.
I'm sorry.
Better it be an SD card issue than a Switch issue.
Of course. Yeah, the Switch itself, I guess, is fine. If I put a cartridge into it, it'll play. But so much of it is tied to that, to that SD card. It's 70% of all the games. So yeah. I don't know. Lesson learned. The reason I'm a little concerned is the last time this happened to me, and it's probably completely unrelated, but when we got a Switch launched, I bought the 400 gigabyte card at launch, and everybody was having problems with that card. And it never worked. I would put it in, and it would do the same thing. It would try to install, and it wouldn't finish. And I've never had that issue since then, since I changed cards. I'm just really hoping I don't have to change cards again. But I mean, unless there's something has happened to it, I've been using this card for a year and I've had no problems. So it's not like it's, new, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I'll re-download everything all over again. It'll take several days to get my Switch back online,
Yeah. Maybe just download games as you go, whatever you feel in the mood for, just download it.
I do like that every time I upgrade to a new Switch model, I always get real selective with the things that I actually re-download. And I feel like every time something like this happens, I start downloading less and less stuff, which is weird.
You're not gonna play everything.
Well, which is weird because I buy the biggest card I can find so I can download everything all the time. Because I'm always, I'll tell you why later, but we have a news story that kind of goes in that. Anyway. Guys, I've been playing way too much Mario Maker, religiously almost every day since then. And I think I was completely wrong by how I understood the press release last week, because I've been playing People's Worlds like nonstop. Totally play like through many multiple connected maps in one world.
Oh, that's good. That's what we were complaining about last time, right?
Exactly. So I think I was misunderstanding the statement. So I guess I went back and relooked at it, and I guess you can build 8 worlds locally, but you can only share one world online.
Right.
But that one world can have 8 different maps on it and like 40 levels and stuff like that. And it made more sense to me as I started playing around and started searching for stuff, because essentially your world goes on your profile page, kind of like a gallery. So you've got like all the courses that you've uploaded to CourseBot, and then you've got like your little me icon and like who you are and where you're from. And then it has like its own specific badge for world. So it's like you can only upload one world. So it's essentially like you either create a world or it's like a best of. It's like a greatest hits list. It's like you put all of your things in one world and people can click it and play from there. I'm happy to report that my experience playing World Builder has been solid. And I was a little concerned because I think anybody that plays Mario Maker, anybody that's ever complained about Mario Maker probably knows exactly what I'm about to say. Not everybody should make Mario levels, right? Like, not everybody's good at it. And I would think that I would have ran into way more what I would call bad worlds, but I haven't. And it makes me wonder if they're doing some sort of extra level of curation.
Go ahead, Gary.
Is there like a popularity kind of like?
Well, though the courses that I'm playing, the course worlds seem to be random. Like I can actually cycle all of them with a press of a button.
They must be doing some curation.
They're all kinds of different popularities. Like I'll see one world that has 20,000 likes, and I'll see another world that has 700 likes. But I've probably played, and this is the beautiful thing about this. Like ultimately, like the sentence that I want to say to you guys to make our listeners maybe be excited about it is I've probably played 8 custom Super Mario World games this week, and it's been fucking awesome. Like, I can't tell you like how awesome it has been to be like, I'm playing a brand new Mario game, and it's good. Some of the creators that I've come across, and I'm trying to share them as much as possible, taking screenshots, sharing their names and stuff. They've been really kind of, I wouldn't say, like, I haven't come across the bullet hell, like super hard Mario Maker world yet, but I have come across like some really ingenious worlds, either the way they're crafted or like those stories that they're telling. One world like went through seasons, so like every map was like a different season and it walked you through. So it was like summer, spring, fall, and like all that, and that was really cool. Other ones was like all key based, so like every level like compounded on the level before it. And then another one was like speedrun, which I thought was really fun because it wasn't super hard, but it was like tricky, I guess is like the right way to say it. But every level that you start in this world, you had like 12 seconds to get to the finish line. And you just basically had to find like where you had to jump. It was like a process of trial and error, but the fact that it was so short kind of made it really fun, and you never like gave up too fast. And another world was completely like underground. You started above ground, but then, and it was beautiful the way it did it, because it would look like you had to jump over space, like you would fall, like, just a gap, you would fall to your death, but you didn't. You had to jump in it. And then you had to go underground to get all the stuff and come back up, which was cool. So there's just like neat things that I'm finding in Mario Maker versus try to beat the hardest level the world has ever seen.
Right.
And I'm glad that the curation for it seems to be good, because honestly, it's so ingenious that they, even if they weren't planning on waiting this long for the World Maker, the fact that it's coming out right now, because like you said, it almost feels like you're getting a new Mario game every time you go to look for one.
And another one that I really enjoyed, like it started Mario Bros, and then it went Super Mario, and then it went Super Mario 3, and then it went
so you can
Mario.
Mix the styles within the same world.
Yep.
That's so
awesome.
Well, every map, I'm sure you can, but every map was a different one. So it was like the first map was like playing Mario Bros. The second map was like playing Mario 3. The third map was like
almost the evolution of Mario through the years.
And then I ended in Super Mario 3D World's 2D thing, and all the levels were that. And I really want a 2D version of that game, just all of it. Like, I really love that. It's really fun. But I'm just seeing really cool stuff like that.
It sounds like creators are like really opening their mind to like what they can do with the whole world and like a mixture of levels, and being very thematic and creative like that, rather than just fixating on one level.
And I almost wonder if, you were talking about the quality of the levels that you're finding and the worlds that you're finding are really good. That I'm wondering if the people who are more inclined to make worlds are the ones who are really good at making
They're trying harder
levels to begin with.
Yeah.
Like for me, I have probably made one level, one like quality level. I'm not the kind of person that would make a world because I don't make a whole lot of really good levels. But the people who do probably are the ones who have been practicing and making really high quality levels this whole time.
That's a really good point. That might be it. It might just be the cream of the crop, and maybe it gets worse as time goes on. But I was honestly feeling maybe it's even catering to my play style, or like maybe they've got some sort of data on me and they're showing me things. Because, when Mario Maker on Wii U came out, I was like a hound for going to like all the different websites and following creators on Twitter and trying to find all the codes and keeping a list of codes together. I haven't done any of that. Like, so all of this that I'm telling you is like on the blue, like random. I'm just clicking into worlds and I'm finding things. I'm like, this is great. Look how great this is.
Some kind of algorithm based on, can't you like a world or something? So maybe there's some kind of algorithm based on.
And you can like worlds, you can like levels, and you can choose specific tags as to why you like them.
Okay.
Like short and sweet, or like easy, or super hard.
So maybe they're
like
recommending stuff based on what you've provided.
That makes me think that's kind of where I was going to, because it's so weird because you hop into the course bot or course world, and there's just like this little icon for world play, and you click it and it gives you like 8, and they're like in a circle, and you're like, I can play any one of these, or I can hit the button and refresh it and get a whole new list to pick from, but that's it. There's no like table, there's no sorting or anything like that. And if you wanted to play somebody's specific world, like I said before, it's like a profile badge. You would just go to that maker's profile, you'd search it, and then click on the world. And they can only I think that's the reason why you can only upload one. It's because they've just attached it to your profile. So which is cool, because I was thinking, again, kind of alluding to what I said, I was thinking there's like 2 ways of doing it. Either you craft a world specifically, like thematically, like this is the world I want to build, and it compounds on itself. Or you like mix all of your greatest hits, all of the levels that you've ever built, into a world, and you publish that, and it's like, you don't have to sort through my list. Here's the best that I've got. Right, which is cool. But playing way too much of it, like really into it, played a bunch of it. I played it Sunday. We were watching movies. I don't remember what movie I was watching. I think like rewatching a bunch of stuff. I played Mario Maker through like 3 movies. Like I sat on the couch like most of the morning. Like I had breakfast playing Mario Maker, watched a movie playing Mario Maker, watched TV shows playing Mario Maker. Like I just played it all day. It was fantastic.
Sounds like the life.
It was good. The second game that I've been playing is Telling Lies, which is an FMV kind of exploration game, very much in the vein of Her Story, if you've ever heard or known of that. I think it got nominated for some Game Award categories when it came out. It was pretty hit and trendy when it came out. It kind of made some waves, and this is the sequel to that, or a spiritual sequel anyways. And it's on Switch, which caught me off guard. And actually, I reached out to good buddy Sean Capri. He's got a hookup with Xbox. He gets all kinds of indie games. I was like, hey, if you get a code to this, like I played Her Story, I'd like to play it. And the reason I wanted to play it was because my wife got really into this. Like, this is the one game, I think maybe Gone Home, maybe right. No, we played Her Story first. And that was like the game that she felt like she could play. And I often make fun of her and tease on the podcast about how nosy she is. She's super nosy. And, she's a paralegal. She makes a career out of being super nosy, digging through people's Facebooks and stuff like that. She's perfect for this type of game. And we've played it twice now. We haven't beat it yet, although I'm pretty sure we're real close. I think I know exactly kind of where it's all going. I think we piece the stuff together. Have either of you seen this game or know kind of how it works?
No.
So I'll give you kind of the elevator pitch. So it's like a found footage type of experience. You turn on the game and you see a person's reflection in your screen. So like, think of it as you're looking at your TV, you're watching somebody look at their monitor, right? So it kind of puts you in the person's shoes. And a computer screen boots up, and you have full control over the OS and the desktop and the drive.
I've heard of this.
So you can go through like the notepad, you can play solitaire, you can pull up like solitaire the game and actually just play it in the game. You can go through people's emails, and there's a hard drive. And the hard drive, it's the worst hard drive ever. You can search for anything, but it will only limit you to 5 clips like per search. So you have to get real specific with what you're searching for. And what you do is you watch through a series of clips from all different people, and you piece together clues about who they are and what they're doing and who knows who and and ultimately the game is like a big game of like who done it. This one's a little bit, I think, more advanced than her story, because when you so you type in I'm just gonna say you type in sex, right? Because a big part of this theme is there's a dude, he's still sleeping with everybody. Like he's got a wife, he's sleeping with this other girl, he's got this it's not a game for kids. It's a mature game. Like he has like this webcam like hooker girl that he talks to. So that's a big part of the theme. So you search for it and it'll tell you like 56 clips match. But here are the top 5 that you can watch right now. So you got to get more specific. And then and if you watch the clips, you'll know somebody's name. And then you search the name, and then you'll hear them say like, by the red fire hydrant, and you go, aha, and you put that in. So it's very much a game where you got to pull out a notepad and start tracking notes. Like you start writing down notes, start profiling, who these people are and all that, and kind of telling the story. And it has multiple different endings and things like that based on the choices and based on your searches. And as you start making progress in the search, this is hard to explain in words. You, the character you're playing, who's looking at the screen, right? You see her reflection in the screen. Stuff starts happening in the background. That's you progressing the game forward. So like if you do enough good searches, all of a sudden like a person will walk into the room and they may start talking to you, and they may take like a break or something, or the light might go out or something like that. And you kind of just nosy your way through everything and try to figure everything out. And this one has got some good stuff. It's got like espionage, mystery, sexual, like all kinds of stuff like that's going on. There's like terrorism, kind of like business terrorism, espionage. It's real good. And
all the dark themes.
The acting is great, except for like the one guy's acting's awful, which kind of makes it great because it's super cheesy. Because a lot of the videos that you're watching, most of them are like kind of what we're seeing now. So like what you're seeing to me, that's what you're watching in the game, is you're watching one person talk to another person, but you don't hear the replies. So you may see the conversation, you're only getting one side of it. And then when you find out how to search, you may find the other side of it later, and you'll be like, these two go together.
Interesting.
It's very interesting, and I really like the way it's pulled off. It's $20. It runs great. That was one thing that and by the way, I did buy it. I didn't. Sean didn't get it, and I told him, I was like, hey, if you don't get it, I'm just going to buy it. So I purchased it. I bought it on Switch just because I thought it was pretty interesting that it was there. It doesn't have like crazy graphics or anything, but it does run a lot of video. We've probably watched an hour of videos. So it's not like a small amount of video. And typically when I've seen games that run like FMVs and stuff on Switch, it can be like fuzzy, lower res. No, it looks great. Looks like you're watching anything on, Zoom or Skype or anything like that. It's kind of what it is. And it's fun. It's real fun to go through. And I don't get into it as much as she does, when I think that's why I appreciate it. I enjoy watching her do it more than anything else. And just seeing, I will call it crazy, but her level of interest and how far she'll go, and like the clues she'll pick up on, it's scary. Because I'm like, I talk to you, like I live with you.
What else is she picking up on?
Right, like she'll pick up on stuff I've never even imagined. Like, what are you doing? How did you get this from this?
I wonder if she liked the Phoenix Wright games.
Yes, I've tried to get her into them, and she was into one on 3DS that I let her play for about a couple hours, but she just never came back to it.
Cool.
But I think the fact that this is so limited gameplay wise, and it's so like go at your own pace, I think that's really the key that lets her play it. Like Animal Crossing, she's not intimidated by what's happening on the screen and anything like that. It feels very familiar. So it's quite good, and I'll let you know how it finished. Like I said, I think we know the ending, or at least one ending. I know we're real close to one ending, and I think we've kind of pieced together this entire person's arc. But there are multiple endings. I don't know if we're going to replay it, but maybe we will. Probably not like all at the same time. We may stop, replay it next year or something like that. So I tried to get into the Ninjala demo, the beta, like the rest of the world.
Horror stories about that.
Have you?
Nobody could get it.
Nobody can get it. So I posted it. Kevin made fun of me. He's like, "You've got all these games to play. Why are you playing this?" And I'm like, "Lots of people are trying to play. It's not just me."
Kind of cool.
It has a Splatoon type vibe, which is kind of good. Yeah. And I did get in. I played 2 matches. And I played the tutorial, and it's kind of fun. It's a little floaty and, kind of Splatoonish, but more beat 'em up brawler than pew pew shoot stuff. But the fact that I can only get in 2 matches, and I tried over multiple windows. It's like this thing, either they woefully undershot like the players that were interested in this, or they are woefully ill prepared to run an online game. Because, I mean, the first match I got in, the first window, I think I was in for 5 minutes, got booted out, never got back in. And I tried the next day, and I couldn't even get in. It was like 3 minutes after the time. It was like 10 in the morning, and I was in at like 10:03. I was like, nope, you're done. It's just like, well,
I'm going to
this
be
isn't fun.
completely honest that I forgot this game existed until I saw all the people complaining that they couldn't get in. So it's almost like that was good advertising for it, because it looked like there were a lot of people that wanted to get in and play it, and I considered trying to get in and trying to play it. But
well, is it good advertising if you search Ninjala on Twitter and it's thousands of messages about how the game is broken, it doesn't work?
That's true.
We can't get in here.
Nobody's going to buy it. I would imagine that
if
will
have a good launch, that would be different.
I would imagine that they'll have some sort of demo or trial before launch, that they'll come out with some sort of thing that you can play.
Their beta time interval was like only like an hour.
It was a stress test. Splatoon did that the same way. What they're trying to do is get as many players in at one time so they can stress their own capabilities.
I remember
they stressed it.
Did something similar on PC.
Yeah, and then they stressed it, and the test results was that they failed. Like they were not ready. So I got into that, and the other thing that I'm playing is Streets of Rage, which I played last night on Xbox. It released on Game Pass. It's on Switch. Digital Foundry has a video that I've posted in our Discord that lets you know that everything about the Switch version is perfect and as good as any other version. They said it's as good as the PlayStation 4 version. There's no lag. There's no dips in resolution. So, Shackers, feel free to go spend $25 on Streets of Rage 4. I was swooning last night as I was sitting here playing Gears Tactics, and I got the alert, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to pause this. I love Streets of Rage. I've always loved those games. Are great. I remember playing in the arcade, and I think the 3DS classics on 3DS are fantastic. If you've never gotten a chance to get them, there was some of my favorite of those. There was a lot of games that got like the 3D treatment in classics, and the retro stuff in 3D does pretty well. I think like Sonic is pretty good. Excite Bike in 3D is pretty good. But my favorite by far is Streets of Rage in 3D is really, really good. The backdrops and the characters, and I think it's the neon, like the vibrancy of the game, perfect for that like effect. It really looks great. And I jumped into it. I was like, oh, I want to go play this game. And I called my son. I was like, you should check out this game with me. He's never played it really. I was like, go grab a controller. So we sat down and we played through the first 2 chapters, and he loves it. And it made me so happy. He was like, oh, let's play some more tomorrow. And when he woke up, he wanted to play some more again. And that just, we don't have a whole lot of experiences where we can play together co-op and it just clicks and it just goes off, but Streets of Rage is simple, fun, beat 'em up, smash 'em up, right? Pick up the pipe, hit as many people as you can. So like it works. And the game art style is gorgeous. Like the music's there. We did find a retro stage. I don't know if anybody knew that they're in there. They're there. You can find a retro stage. I think it's a spoiler to tell somebody how to.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm the king of spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll find like a taser, right? Like a cop will try to tase you. Mm-hmm. You can't pick up the taser and hit anybody with it because it'll use the taser. You got to knock the taser out of his hand, clear the stage, pick up the taser, and then go hit the arcade cabinet with the taser, and it'll bring you back to Streets of Rage, and you can play the Streets of Rage level.
That's so specific. Who would figure that out?
I didn't figure it out. No, I'm sorry. I saw it. I saw it on Twitter, like leading up to the game's release. So I knew. I just didn't know if anybody else wanted to be.
I think that's a good tip, not a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
Nobody would figure that out on their own.
But my son thought it was so cool because the game was like, and he was like, "Oh, we found this thing. It's hidden," And I was just like, "He's hooked. He's hooked." And that makes me really, really happy because I can't wait to play more of this game. And I'm happy. I've always played Streets of Rage by myself. I know it's such a co-op game. I never have a co-op partner. I think maybe I played in an arcade with somebody, but I didn't know who they were. It's just a stranger playing on the other side of the table. But the fact that we can play together co-op is really, really fun. So I've been talking way too long. God, way too long. So the only other thing I did want to say something about Animal Crossing. I'm still not playing it. But I laughed and I tweeted a picture of my wife's character because as she continues to build out her world and customize everything, every now and again she'll bring her Switch over to me and she'll show me her rooms. And look at this wallpaper and look at this thing that I themed and all that.
She's proud of it.
I know.
She's
and
so proud of it.
her character avatar just looks like Carol Baskin. It's like, why do you look like Carol Baskin? Why did you just make this woman? She's like, I don't. That's me. And I'm like, this is terrifying. This is what you think you look like. You think you look like Carol Baskin. She has like this mermaid dress and it's like wavy. She's got her long hair and these big sunglasses and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you look like Carol Baskin. It's really interesting how, I've said it over and over, I think week after week, the game comes out and how far reaching it is. I have another one of those examples to share. So here locally, MomoCon is a conference I've been to a couple times, and I've worked press and volunteered a little with them. They have moved their conference to digital only format. Like everybody else, right? They're trying to do digital things. So they're standing up a Discord, they're standing up a Twitch, they're trying to do interview streams and stuff, trying to still give people something. One of the things they're doing is an Animal Crossing night. And they're doing a MomoCon Animal Crossing. And if you buy a MomoCon physical t-shirt, they will give you a digital version of it in Animal Crossing.
Oh, that's adorable.
And I was like, this is crazy. They're literally like getting people together. And I think they're going to try to have like some of the voice actors and stuff in Animal Crossing. And I don't know if that's like legit, if they're on the other end playing, or if there's people impersonating them, but it didn't matter, right? It's really, really cool. But if they have that on stream, and you like, let's just like, so I was there and I met like Kyle Abear, who does our intro for the show, right? What if he was like on Twitch streaming Animal Crossing and just inviting MomoCon people into his village? You could run around with him and stuff. This is really cool stuff that this game is doing. And I was really, impressed with what they're doing and how they're trying to cross promote it and use it, not even as a video game, as like a digital meetup space.
Right.
Like it's not just a video game, it's a physical Zoom world or whatever.
I've seen there was another post. We talked about the one time the couple had their wedding in Animal Crossing because it was canceled in real life due to the virus. I saw this past week somebody had a little graduation ceremony because they're graduating from high school this year and can't have a ceremony, so they got their cap and gown in Animal Crossing and they've had a little pretend Animal Crossing.
Had a little audience.
Wow.
There were pictures. It was so cute. People are getting so creative with this game, and it's bringing people together virtually.
Well, that's a good segue for me. So, Rebecca, tell me what have you been doing in Animal Crossing?
Well, Animal Crossing, I'm starting to get to the point where like I'm not playing it for hours and hours every day. I'm just doing kind of my daily check-ins, my little tinkering with different parts of my island. Did do a couple little stuff with the update, with like planting the bushes and just kind of making everything a little bit prettier. All of the May Day stuff starts tomorrow, so like more of those updates are starting to roll out. And like with each of those, I think those are the little things that will just keep me coming back and playing for a little bit every day. And that's kind of what it will turn into for me for the rest of the year plus. Cool. I think I'm at that point now.
Mm-hmm. What's the next game? What's the next focus for you after Animal Crossing?
Like the
main Nintendo game
that I'm looking forward to?
Yeah.
I don't have one.
She said that so like condescending. She's like, that is positive?
Like, is there a backlog game?
Well, now I want to know like which one do you think is so bad?
Wait, what do you mean?
Because I'm making a joke. Just the way you said it, it made it sound like you were like, well, there's one, but I don't think it's any good.
No. I didn't know if you meant like if I was going to stop playing Animal Crossing and play like...
No. It sounds like you're going off to the side with this game.
I mean, no, I'm always going to play, and I was telling you just a little bit ago that I play a million games at one time.
Right.
And I'll keep playing Animal Crossing like every day. Like I'm going to be playing other stuff. I still do. Oh. As for a game that's coming up for Nintendo, I don't have an answer for that. I don't think we know enough to know like what I'm really looking forward to. Mm-hmm. I did do a little bit of Splatoon de-rusting this past weekend, nice. In preparation for the Splatfest. Man, I got bad at that game.
Yeah.
I thought that like maybe I would still be kind of good. No.
People are really good in that game now.
And I thought maybe more people would be coming back and like also, from long.
There's a demo this weekend, so you can whoop some people.
Good people will be coming in who don't have 350 hours in the game.
There you go.
But you would think I would be better after like spending that much time with it. But I did spend like about a year away from it. I think my mistake was trying to play more of the ranked mode, and like my rank just went down with every game that I played, every match that I played. So I might have to do a little bit more derusting if we want Team Mayo to.
It's a warm up. We gotta train.
It's a good thing we're practicing now.
Yep. Take over hashtag Team Ketchup.
Absolutely.
Whatever that abomination is.
I didn't beat Gree yet. I didn't play a whole lot of it. I think I had a hard time really getting into it just because it is a little bit of a slower game, and I know it's not that long. I just had a hard time with it keeping my focus. Like I would play for about like 15, 20 minutes, and then it just felt a little bit repetitive.
Is it a little too abstract, you think?
Not abstract, but like I'm just not a platforming person.
Okay.
Like, I don't play a lot of platformers. It felt a lot of like, okay, I'm doing the same kind of, motions, the same kind of like simple puzzles over and over. But there were a couple things that stood out to me. I think I'm near the end. And I assume these are like not spoilers at this point because it's kind of not an old game.
Are you spoiling me?
I didn't realize that there would be like, I don't know if a boss is the right word to call it, but the part with the bird that attacked me really caught me off guard because everything in the game was just so peaceful and friendly and whimsical up until that point, and then this bird appears. So I start walking towards it, and it ended up not being a friendly bird, and it like called at me and blew me to the, blew me across the whole stage. And then I'm like finding myself going through these platforms and like trying to escape this bird, and eventually I beat that part, and that just really threw me off guard because the tone felt like it changed completely during that part.
I do remember that very specifically. I want to say that's like halfway-ish.
Well, I'm past that too. The other part that caught me off guard in the same way. First, I got through all that water, the whole water level, which I thought was beautiful. I loved it. It was really well designed. I freed like the sea turtle. So beautiful. So I'm working my way through the dark part, and then that eel appears. It made me jump out of my skin because it like came with like this vibration and this loud noise, and I was not expecting it because it changed from such a peaceful, watery sea turtle tone to all of a sudden there's like this giant eel snapping at me that I have to escape. So that shift in tone really like caught my interest and brought me in. I'm a little bit past that part.
Okay.
I think I got past that level. I'm like, the area that I'm in now is like lights. Like I'm lighting up these things to jump on the platforms.
Yeah. I think you're in the third act. Like you're in that final kind of. Yeah.
So I'll probably beat that finally, in probably the next time I play it. Because at first I was playing it in like 15, 20 minute chunks, but the last time I played it for like an hour. So
Nice.
I think I'm finally into it.
Cool.
And that's about all that I've been playing Nintendo wise. Like I said, not a whole lot. It's been kind of a busy week.
Sure. What are you, Garrett?
Been busy as well. So I've been playing not too much this week. Probably after this final, I'll play a lot more. But I want to mention a little bit more about Mario plus Rabbids. I know I've been going on and on about it. I beat the base game. It's again really good. I would say the last boss though is a little irritating. Depending where I was, I'm like, it's one of those bosses. Like it's kind of like Fire Emblem too. Is like it can be just like a difficulty spike. And I'm like, I just want to finish this game. It's that kind of feeling. So I try to beat it at like, I don't know, like 5 attempts on the last boss. The way it's set up is that you set your characters and you go into the level for Mario plus Rabbids. Well, I kept losing every time. It's like, all right, restart the mission or whatever. I could not switch my characters though at all. I normally could switch my characters up to see if I can do a different strategy, but the game's like, nope, these are your characters. Once you get in, you're facing this boss. And I can tell you what the boss is. It's just Bowser that's like flying everywhere. It's not Bowser's like possessed by some flame phoenix thing. I don't think it's a spoiler because it's not big on story. It's more on style.
See,
But
I don't even remember the game. That's how much of not a spoiler it is. It's like I played the entire game, barely remember it.
Yep. So I eventually was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of this. Let's put that extra healthy in there. So every level before you get in there, there's this button that says you can put in 50% extra health into your units if you want to, and it makes it much, much easier for you. Or not probably much easier, but maybe handle it more if you're struggling with the level. I think it's a nice a get there. So beat the game like that, which is fine. I'm going back through previous levels now, trying to go through. There's some extra challenges in each world, so I'm trying to get through those.
You reminded me, I did jump on XCOM.
Yeah?
I was going to wait for the Switch, and I was talking to Dan Stapleton from IGN on Twitter, and he was like, don't get it on Switch. He kept telling me over and over and over again. He's like, if you have a PC that's any bit of good. I was like, I have a great PC, actually. He was like, then why are we even talking?
Because you can get it on sale. You can get, I think it's like, what, like $15 or
I got it for, it's 25 and it's everything.
It's everything. It's
the
everything.
entire collection, all the DLC, all the packs, all the things, which is why I always never wanted to get it. But, you know, it's going to be $50 on Switch. Yeah. And I could get it for 25 on PC, and it's a mouse and keyboard game. I got to tell you, I played the first 2 or 3 levels, and it was probably impulsive because of the price, because I get Gears Tactics and I'm like, oh, I'm never going back to XCOM.
I know, right?
it was like you know, like 2 days later I was like, oh, I shouldn't have bought that game at all. But you
probably go back to it, but
it's just I'm not saying I like it or I don't. I'm not placing any judgment, but it might be a little bit too sci-fi for me. Which I don't typically get into. And I was, the only thing I wanted to bring to this conversation is I appreciate Mario Rabbids like simplicity and the fact that I don't have all the menus and all the upgrades and the bunker and the other thing and like all the home base stuff. And it's like, once I started seeing more of that, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do all this. I appreciate that Mario Rabbids, or at least my introduction, which is what I'm sure the game was built for, right? An introduction to XCOM type of games. Yeah. My introduction to those games was very simple: get in, play, like learn the combat, you know, very limited character stuff. Because if Mario Rabbids was like XCOM in that regard, I might have quit on it. I may have not stayed the whole time.
Right. It's pretty easy to get into for new people into the genre. This is probably the game to get. If you want to try out an XCOM-like game.
It was funny because Dan was telling me, he's like, well, do you like strategy games? And I was like, well, I love Fire Emblem games, but I wouldn't consider them like the same game.
Yeah, the combat is like the base concept is the same, but I agree with Fire Emblem. There's a lot more than just the strategy RPG. It has its own flavor, its own
like the XCOM style, Gears Tactics, Mario Rabbids, XCOM feels like a separate genre from like strategy games that I would consider Advance Wars, Fire Emblem. You know, it's like it's like a different flavor. It's its own kind of separate thing.
Yeah, it's the way you move the units, right?
I think so.
With Mario plus Rabbids and XCOM, it's cover-based shooting. You decide to go behind cover, and you can shoot other enemies.
It's more like
from that cover.
It's more like chess. Like you're more like kind of, you know. Yeah. Whereas Fire Emblem, I'm just like banging icons against each other through the maps like often. So
that's the way I play. I play Fire Emblem like chess because I have it on hard. I have it on hard classic.
I'm not doing that.
And so when once you get to that point, it's like I have to be really careful where to put these units.
You do, but you get what I'm saying. Like you don't have, like cover off of like specific walls and off of all the objects. It's not that environmental. Like you may have, a cover buff because you're in trees or something like that, but it's not the same.
Definitely. It's a lot more environmental based with both Mario plus Rabbids and XCOM. I've been playing the Donkey Kong DLC. That's great.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Donkey Kong might be my favorite Nintendo franchise just personally.
Really?
Wow. I love Donkey Kong Country games. That's what I grew up on. And hearing the songs kind of remade in the DLC, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
Nostalgic.
Yeah, it's nostalgic, but they have this, it's an orchestrated music that they put to it, and it's just so good. I wish this was just a spin-off game, right? They only fix on 3 characters. It's
that was my take, actually. You just jogged my memory. That was what I came away with. I think that's what I was telling Caroline. I was like, I think they planned this as a separate game. Like, because it feels like that. You have separate startup screen, separate menus, separate everything. Like it feels like a secondary thing. And they were like, well, just make it like an expansion. But I wouldn't have been. I think I even predicted that they were going to release it separately. I think that was my prediction. I was like, I think they're just going to put this standalone, like $20. Here's more, Donkey Kong Rabbids game.
But they only fix on 3 characters: the Rabbid Peach, which you've had before, and then you have the Cranky Kong Rabbid, which was random, and then Donkey Kong. Those are the 3 you get, and that's all you get for now. I don't know if you get more, but that's what I've been playing with. But yeah, no, the music's great. What I think the best thing that really hit me was the secret levels I found. Because Donkey Kong Country is the exact same thing. You hit those secret levels and you go to like an underground area, or you try to do this maze and it's the music, do 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 boo. I'm like, oh yes, no, this is so good. So I've been loving it. I'm over halfway done with the DLC, and I'm planning to finish it out. It doesn't seem as hard as the base game. I think I've gone through all but one on perfect levels. Maybe I just doesn't
really Donkey Kong have like some giant suplex slam or something? Like I feel like I remember him like picking up people and throwing them and stuff. Good
reminder. The mechanism with Donkey Kong's much different than separate characters. Normally with characters, you go to like an ally and you can jump, right? You can jump and go to a different
like spring off of them.
Yeah, Donkey Kong can't do that. What you do is you can grab any object you want, whether it's a barrier, your ally, or an enemy, and you can throw them wherever you want.
That's it. You chuck them across the way.
Yeah. The ally, you throw them, it's like a jump for them. And it's a really cool combo with Cranky Rabbid. He actually shoots down at people when he jumps too. So, you can throw allies you want to a completely different area. You can throw smashers or enemies off the map too. And that's a really good way to get through the level. Donkey Kong, they did a really cool mix up with that mechanism. But yeah, that's been pretty much it with Mario's plus Rabbids. I hope to finish it by the time you're hearing this next week. So I've been playing a little bit more Ocarina of Time. Again, I have not had much time with it. I was just speaking a little bit to Rebecca about this. My journey has been fine so far. I'm just playing off to the side when I can. And I'm to the level where I'm at the Dongo Cave. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So I have the Hylian Shield. I have the bracers now that can pick up the bombs, and I'm now in the Dondongo cavern area. It seemed, I don't know, like a little. I had to search a little bit to figure out where I was gonna go. It's definitely a game where you need to figure out your direction, because sometimes you do a little backtracking. And I guess it's a lot with Zelda games too, but a little bit of backtracking to learn some songs, and then you have to go forward to a different area to figure out what's the next objective. But I will continue that playthrough. I will persevere. I will finish this game. So I'm very excited.
You just need to get like Zelda Dungeon, right? And just like ZeldaDungeon.net. And get yourself like a tip on where to go next. I told you, man, my childhood,
Can't do it.
I was like handing out nickels to the librarian. Like, I need you to print this guide for me. I don't know where I'm supposed to get the Master Sword or the Mirror Shield or any of these things you got to do.
I hear
there's no shame in looking up a guide.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to shame you for it. Like, you may feel shame. I'm not going to shame you for it.
You have a whole internet's worth of people who would be happy to hint stuff to you if you still want like a little nudge, but still want like a little bit of challenge of figuring it out for yourself. Because this is a game that people know like the back of their hands.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
You can get like cryptic hints if you want them.
I remember, man, I used to, I would say speedrun, but like I had a cousin of mine, he would play this game over and over again. Like just sit and play it all the way through and then reboot and start it up and keep going. Got to a point we could beat that game in like a day, like a night. Like we'd start after dinner and just play like straight through.
Know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to figure this out for myself. I'm one of those guys. I'm a little stubborn.
Don't be afraid to talk to Navi. Everyone rips on Navi. She's not that bad. She'll help you.
I'll talk to Navi.
Talk to us. Hit us up in the Discord.
We
won't spoil it for you, but we can give you a tip.
And if I ever feel like I'm that point, I will let you know. But
the way I feel is if it's at the point where you're not having fun anymore and you're just feeling frustrated, that's the point where you either need to ask somebody or look it up.
Yep, definitely. But I'll let you guys know. It's been okay. Next thing, I just want to show real quick. I have replaced my Pro Controller shell.
Yeah, you did it.
You went the atomic purple as well. Hey, did you guys know? I saw these last week. Did you guys know that you can get glow in the dark grips for those?
No.
They're on Etsy and they come in all kinds of styles. And I was going to tell you, Rebecca, I'm glad you showed me this because they make white ones. And I was thinking like the white ones would be like beautiful with that purple. I was thinking about replacing the white ones on my Smash controller with glow in the dark white ones, but they look awesome. Go to Etsy and type in glow in the dark, Pro Controller grips. They're bright, like they're real neon and stuff.
I want another Pro Controller just to put a different color shell on it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think that they take advantage of that. Like they could come up with so many good Pro Controller combinations that we would buy. They don't even have to be special editions.
Have you seen the Joy-Cons I have? They don't even have designs on them. They're just colors, and I bought them. Oh my gosh. If they would just make, actual...
I don't get it.
Yeah, because they sell them... Well, they sell... I would say that's because they sell us systems, entire systems.
That's true.
They're like, here's a backplate, $300.
These are third-party manufacturers, right? They're like, hey, we got the mold.
Yep.
Let's just make these things and sell them for a profit. And I'm like, hey, $20, sure.
My only thing with the Super Switch is I wish they didn't put the logo on it. I would have wished it was just a flat design.
I can't tell it too much.
Yeah, it kind of hides into it, but it looks good, Garrett.
Yeah. So I've had a little bit of struggle with this replacement. It was a process. It took a couple hours more than it needed to. But really, you need is a Phillips screwdriver. That's all you need to get inside and replace these things. I tried to look up a video about it. I won't say the guy's name, but he didn't do such a great job of showing me what to do. It was more like, hey, this is easy. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is a Phillips screwdriver. Yeah, you see these buttons? Yep. And it was like
the buttons you got to be careful with.
The hardest part for me was being careful not to strip the screws because I got very close to stripping them when I was taking them out that I almost wasn't able to put them back in.
Oh my gosh.
So that's like, I think the one thing that you got to be careful for because strip them, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you got to be careful about the buttons.
You're going to spend $7 to replace a tiny little bitty screw.
Right. I was putting it back together. The home button wasn't working. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I pulled it back, and I'm like, oh, it's the little padding underneath is just stuck to the motherboard of this circuit board, so I had to put it back in. And then the strip ribbon, when you break it apart, the guide tells you to take it apart, but I look at another video, you don't have to take it apart. And
I thought you weren't supposed to take it apart.
Well, I did.
It could rip.
Yeah, I took it apart, okay? And then
it didn't rip.
I was putting it back together. I'm like, my controller's not powering on. What's going on? And so I had to open it back up again, and I was like, oh, yep, that's the ribbon. It was a struggle.
I replaced my Joy-Con stick and didn't have this amount of trouble.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was really fun to do this.
I guess I'm just clumsy or something. But it's really cool. I like the buttons too. It's a good.
I didn't replace my buttons. I didn't want the different color buttons like that.
Yeah,
I didn't either, but I get the appeal of it.
It reminds me of the SNES buttons.
But I only want that style when it looks like a Super Famicom controller.
That makes sense.
It's like I can't cross the streams. I can't be having atomic green or atomic purple N64 stuff with Super Famicom buttons and stuff like that.
That's fair.
You can't pick them all up.
I really want what's the Pro Controller replacement, the 8-bit-do Pro Controller thing that everybody has?
Where it's like gray with the buttons?
I've been tweeting at them since they announced it. If they make a Super Famicom one, I'll buy it. I'll buy it for twice what it costs. Easily. I just make that version of the controller. I'll buy it.
With the buttons, yeah.
Yeah, because I love that style, but it's got to be gray with the colors.
Can you get that style and then do you still have the buttons from, or you're talking about a different controller?
Yeah,
okay,
it'd be a different controller.
The buttons wouldn't fit.
Because I have the 8-bit-do Super Famicom little controller, the little SNES controller, but I would much rather have the Pro Controller replacement. I hope they'll make one, but I don't know. I'm actually kind of shocked they never did. It doesn't make any sense. They have Super NES purple button option. They just don't have the Super Famicom version.
Right. But yeah, other than that, it's working now. I put it back together. It's working. Next thing, Animal Crossing. I have the exact same story as Donnie does. Basically, I don't have a Switch Lite anymore. My girlfriend has the Switch Lite now.
You bought her a really nice gift, Garrett.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, so here's the situation. All right. Basically, she likes to play on my profile a lot now, but she also created her own profile as well. She is switching back and forth between these two profiles, building both homes, getting the loans, and she has multiple
She's a
rooms
super
now.
fan. This
Oh
is
my
insane.
God.
No, she got to the point where it's like
She's like,
she
in my
loves-
world, you don't
Yeah.
build your house here. In my world, you build your house over here.
She's like, come here, Garrett. Look how like beautiful your house is now in the living room. I gotta say, it looks really, really good. So I'm not gonna like.
Come here, Garrett. Look what you did in Animal Crossing. You're like, I haven't played Animal Crossing.
I haven't played Animal Crossing at all. But no, I'm super glad she's having fun with it. This is like really the only console video game she's been really into, and I think that speaks volumes with this game as well. It's speaking to the non-gamers and all of the friends of the non-gamers, which is a huge, broad audience. That's why you're seeing those sales. And so we got to the point where she told me yesterday, is like, you know what I'm thinking. You know what this Animal Crossing to profile thing really sucks. So what she wants to do is actually she wants to buy a Switch Lite, and she's like, I want to keep the Switch Lite for like a year or something like that, and lend you the Switch Lite that I'm gonna buy, because she wants to keep the profile, she wants to keep the island too, just to progress from there. But she, when the time comes when she's kind of done with Animal Crossing, she'll have the other Switch Lite, I guess, back or whatever.
Because she doesn't want to start a whole new island. Is that why?
Yeah, she doesn't want to start a whole new island.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, I don't blame her at all either. So we're in the midst of talking with that. Well, she's here for now just because of the
You're in
COVID.
negotiations to get your own Switch back.
Yeah, we'll see.
See, this is why I'm so glad that I bought the special edition, the Animal Crossing special edition, because then I could just give Sam the old one, and that's he can use that to play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it drives me nuts. My son, man, my family, they're all playing on it, and then I'll go to look at it, and it has like this grime across it. I don't know what it is.
No.
And I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? You can't do this. They're like, well, we touched this. I'm like, stop touching the screen. Stop putting your fingers on it. They're like, what do you care? I'm like, because it's I could sell this thing for $600 right now. Leave it alone. Like, you're ruining it.
Yeah. And I think, that's pretty much it for now.
I got the Satisfy Light Grip.
Yes. It's really good, isn't it?
I've been taking pictures of it. I mean, I had the Satisfy Grip for the regular one, and I like prophesized the world like how amazing it was.
Yep.
And it's it's the same for the light. It's much better, much more enjoyable way of playing. I held off for so long because I had this cute like Pikachu case that matched my yellow Switch, and I didn't want to have to change cases. So I want to keep it. But I was playing Darksiders, and I was starting to feel like that kind of like that hand crampiness. I was like, I should probably get a grip. So I got the grip, and it's great. I love that it's white. It's like my favorite thing about it is how it offsets the sticks and the buttons. It looks like a great companion piece for the Switch Lite versus how it looks on the OG model. So I'm back to that life. It is weird how I have the Amazon gift credit card, so you earn reward points. So I had like $27 in reward points, so I used that towards a purchase. But it's I was thinking like it's a shame how expensive they sell these things for, like $40, $50, $60, and then you get this little grip because for the light it's small. It's like it looks like the other one's cut in half. It's just like, wow, this is $40, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Did you get the case with it?
Yeah.
Cool. It's good.
I got the case here, but it's upstairs, hopefully downloading things and not broken still. I got the one that has like the it's not the big one.
Yeah, I have it right here. I used to have the big boy, so I had the regular Switch grip,
and it's a lot to carry in it. It's like huge.
So I went on an international trip last year in September, and I brought that thing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a nightmare going through the airport with this huge hunk of thing in my backpack.
So you put it in a backpack, and it takes like a third of the back. Like it's not insignificant. It's big,
and it's awkwardly shaped too.
Yeah. Yeah.
where like I want my laptop in there, but I also want. That's why I like kind of had it ergonomically like. Put
See, I would have
everything
loved
in
if the
case.
grip case was colored. That would have been cool for the light. I feel like that's a missed opportunity for them, as they could have made, offsetting cases, like maybe like white with yellow, coral, blue trim,
yeah.
or vice versa, right? Or they're yellow, blue, or then maybe white offsets and stuff like that. But it's just a case. But
You talk a lot about the cosmetics of these and different designs. I wonder from like a manufacturing standpoint, it's just
oh, I'm sure it is. No, I 100%.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
They're having delays and stuff on them. Like they have a huge banner on their webpage, like buy from us, don't buy from Amazon or eBay. Like they're going to delay. It's going to take weeks. Like, they're having issues trying to keep up with demand for them as well. So I'm sure I get way too involved. And to be honest with you, I care way too much just about the aesthetics of my consoles and stuff. I like them when they look nice.
I like it too.
But and then and Devin would make fun of me for saying that because I'm a real simpleton when it comes to it. I love like a very simple, like kind of, light pop of design. I don't want like giant Spider-Man logo and stuff on my things. Like that's too gaudy and stuff. It stands out too much. I want it to be stylized, but like minimal. I want it to sit in the background like it's a part of, kind of like the decor. I don't want it to be like this huge loud thing. But I do love it. I really love like the Animal Crossing one. I'm not even playing the game. Anybody's listening to Nintendo Shack, they're like, their main guy doesn't even play the game. It's like the world's greatest Nintendo Switch game. I'm like, yeah, I'm not even playing it. And they're like, why'd you even buy the console? The console looks great.
Yeah.
It does.
Doc
The colors
looks
are
amazing.
so good.
That's all it is. It's just looks. It's like, yeah, the moment they showed that dock, it's like, I'm going to have one of those. I'm going to get one of those for sure. Okay, let's get into the new show. It's going to be so long.
You just saw the time.
I'm just doing terrible at hosting this now. Jason Lacey, where are you? You're needed. Somebody needs to stop me from talking.
You're just too polite, Rebecca.
This week in Nintendo is a big one, or at least, I guess it's big. I don't know how unexpected it is. VentureBeat has reported that Nintendo has notified development partners it will not be holding a Nintendo Direct this June. The site says complications brought about from Japan's work-from-home order as part of its attempt to mitigate COVID-19 are forcing Nintendo to push back its schedule. They did add that Nintendo was planning on June plans and were in talks with their partners. We may now have to wait till the end of the summer before getting an update. Many other outlets have since reported either the exact same story or corroborated the news with their own sources. This would mark the first time since 2013 Nintendo has not held their typical June Direct. Now, this is going to come. A lot of people are going to be, I don't know, upset. Saddened is probably the better way of describing it. A lot of people look forward to this, myself included. But everything going on in the world has to be expected, right?
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
We said the last Direct, probably was delayed a bit because they were trying to finalize dates and stuff with everything going on. I'm sure that was a part of it, and I'm sure that's a big part of this. It's there. People gotta remember, the E3 Direct, specifically the E3 Direct, isn't just about the first party games. Typically they launch a lot of third party games and partnerships and stuff at those shows as well. So if those folks are having delays, that's going to set back Nintendo. And if Nintendo is having their own delays and making sure that they've got dates and stuff, because it's not that they don't, it's not, they could just show you the games, but with Nintendo's style of doing the directs, they're not just game announcements. They're also scheduling announcements. They do dates. So nobody wants to watch a Nintendo Direct in June full of games that have no dates on it. That would be worse.
I like how this story just leaked a little bit more. I hope Nintendo has some sort of official statement. Again, this is a rumor, so we don't know if this is actually true. But I think everyone suspected low-key that there was going to be a Direct in June. I understand with the current circumstances, that's probably not true, but I'm glad the story came out. It's like, hey, don't really expect too much coming out of June now. Now that E3 is closing down, we might have some sparse digital events, and maybe even Nintendo is probably not up for making huge announcements. I think that's I'm like, all right, cool, that's fine.
You're right, Garrett. I'm kind of glad too, because otherwise, we would be hearing a bunch of insiders saying there's going to be a direct, next week. I've heard it. All of my sources say so. And
Prediction YouTube videos and articles.
I think it's kind of funny about how, 2 months ago it was rumors of a direct, and now it's rumors of no direct. It's kind of like it's flipped opposite. But yeah, I mean, it is sad. We all look forward to directs in general, especially E3 around this time of the year. But I think that, given, like you said, given everything going on, we have to understand that they are so uncertain about, what's going to be coming out. How could they possibly promise release dates only for them not to be able to stick to them? And you're right. I wouldn't want to see a whole bunch of these are someday, might not be this year, might be who knows how long down the road. And we have plenty to play.
We do.
And it's clear that Nintendo's beating to their own drum. It's like, all right, we're not ready yet. We're not going to get something out yet. And once they have something, they're going to shock us. It's not going to, we'll may have some anticipation from insiders, but at the same time, they like to schedule their own thing as they go along.
Kyle asks, since there's no direct in June, will we see a direct before June or after June? What kind of direct will it be? Kyle, we will not see a direct before June. We won't see a direct in June. And if the story is to be believed, which I can't imagine that it's not, late summer, August. Yeah. And I feel like that's going to be a long wait for some, especially because a lot of the games that are coming out are either ports or probably not the most popular games. But the only thing that I will say to Kyle's statement here is just because there's not a direct doesn't mean there won't be an announcement.
I think we could see a lot of little Twitter direct type things where we're like, whoa, like the Mario Maker news came out of nowhere. That last
Splatfest.
The Splatfest that they just dropped it on YouTube. We saw a trailer, and we might see little things.
We could see a Smash character.
Could have normally been in a direct, but there's not enough to quite make it into a direct.
Yep, 100%. We could see an announcement of a game here or there. Like you said, we have plenty to play. Not only do we have plenty to play across everything we already have, we've already talked about a slew of games coming out in May. May is packed full of games, especially if you count the ports. And, we've got other games that we know are coming June, July. Deadly Premonition 2 is coming out July 10th. That was next on the news. What's the board game that we got?
Clubhouse 51.
There we go. That's coming out right after the end of the month, right? June 1st.
They're doing a lot of advertising, I noticed on Twitter for that lately.
Yeah. I'm excited to see if that game sells well. If it's quarantined, I feel like maybe I was just wrong, because when they showed it, the initial feeling I had was people are going to make fun of me for wanting this game. And that was
my most interested game from that direct.
I've seen a lot of people that are very interested in that game, and I just wasn't expecting it. And I think it's probably because I remember games like WiiWare and like all of that stuff, and people don't really take well to the mini game type of things. But you're right, they're dropping trailers and they're dropping all these different things.
I think if they hype it up, people will get it.
I'm getting it. Get to play golf. Getting it. Koei Tecmo held a financial briefing and stated that they still plan on localizing Persona 5 Scramble: The Phantom Strikers for the West. So
good.
Rest assured, the game's coming. Nobody should have not expected that. That would have been weird. We made this whole Warriors game just for Japan. Luigi's Mansion 3's second DLC pack released yesterday. It's interesting. Months before originally scheduled. This was scheduled to come out in July. And they just released it. And
didn't they do that with the first pack as well?
I think the first pack came out on time, right? It was March and July?
I don't know, but both I feel like came out with very little fanfare.
Yeah. I think that's probably why it was moved up, is because it's probably not selling that well to begin with. This one includes Puckstravaganza, Floaty Frenzy, and Desperate Measures. The measure game is like, I saw them, it's like you set the scale based on what you think the top is going to have, and then it drops on the person. And then Puckstravaganza is like hockey, except instead of playing with hockey sticks, you play with the vacuums. So instead of slapping forward, you kind of like push it. These join Dodge Brawl, Riverbank, and Tricky Ghost Hunt from the first pack that came out in March, as well as a bunch of costumes, which I do think are cool. I did not know about this until I read up on it. The costumes that you get in the DLC change the Scarescraper event. So when you go into the Scarescraper, all of the rooms like change to match the costume you're in.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you're wearing like the Safari one, it becomes jungle-ish and stuff like that, which is neat. They're all available for $10.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I don't have Luigi's Mansion 3. Is this DLC single player?
No, this looks like multiplayer.
It's multiplayer.
Right?
It's all
That's what I
multiplayer.
heard.
Yeah.
So there's no new single player content.
No, I think that's why there's not much fanfare with it. It's not a big.
It doesn't sound like it applies to everybody.
And the mini games are similar Mario mini games that, like we've done the hockey and the soccer, and it's similar to those. I don't want to. I'm actually thinking about getting it. Just when I saw it, I don't know. You get 6 new game modes and a bunch of costumes, and I did like the Skier Scraper. The Skier Scraper is a fun multiplayer mode. These little things are like one-offs. They're like Mario Party things, but the Skier Scraper mode is really good. I played that quite a bit, and I really liked Luigi's Mansion 3, so I might just throw them $10. And if I play Puck Stravaganza and Dodgeball for a day or two, it's probably worth it.
Cool.
But I got local players. Like if you don't,
That's
then
true.
it doesn't make any sense for anybody else. But if you got kids, it might be worth throwing a buck at. Do something new. This story has been going around for weeks, but we finally started to get like some real confirmation last week. So Nintendo confirmed that up to 160,000 accounts were accessed in a huge privacy breach. In the statement, Nintendo said at present there was no evidence to suggest Nintendo's own databases, servers, or services have been accessed. Apparently the Nintendo ID is the culprit for this. People that have had the legacy in an ID that's connected to their account. This is what's happened to them. This actually happened to me, not now, but a long time Shack listeners might remember that my in an ID, after I connected to my Switch, somebody had it, my Wii U. And like my old Wii U that I traded to get the Switch, and they never cleared it. Like GameStop never cleared it.
Oh,
and
wow.
they just spent money one day. I went into my eShop thinking I had $100. It was gone. And Nintendo, they found out why, and they told me it was your NNID. They gave me my money back,
Wow,
and
good.
they cleared my NNID, which is what allowed me, when I bought another Wii U later, to put my old NNID back on it, because they cleared. It was like the only way you could get it cleared is if somebody stole it.
Wow.
And I do know that Bobby, the Nintendo guru, had this happen to him. And I think they're targeting, I want to say, I saw several blogs saying they were targeting Fortnite players.
Yeah, what happened to Bobby was that this guy actually it was actually hacked. It wasn't like through what you said, Donnie. And basically, they disconnected the PayPal account from the Nintendo account and stole the PayPal account away. That's how they got the V-Bucks on Fortnite. So disconnect your PayPal on Nintendo.
And the two-factor. Put your two-factor login.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can hack you if you have that.
It's true.
Well,
yeah.
It's a heck of a lot harder.
Kyle asks, with two-step verification now a feature to all Nintendo accounts, will this process be made mandatory in future console updates? I don't think so.
I don't think it'll ever be mandatory. But you should have it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You should.
I think Epic Game Store, they just really recently done this. But basically, the free games now that you get, you have to have two-factor authorization in order to get those games.
Yep.
It's a good idea.
So
there's no reason not
would
to.
be great.
After that happened to me with the NNID, I separated NNID, even though it's been since fixed. I still have never reconnected it. I separated PayPal a long time ago, and I never store financial information on my Switch. So
nice.
Every time I go to buy stuff, I just whip out the card and type in the code.
I do too, but why? I don't know.
Or I buy, a lot of times, what I've been doing lately, maybe for the past years, I just buy PayPal cards. Like on eBay, I just get a digital card and I just put the code in, and then just use the funds that way.
That's a good idea too.
So because it's super fast. You can buy it. You can buy an eBay code because PayPal themselves have like eBay digital storefront. And you can buy a code, $20, $30, $50, $60, and you get it like in 10 minutes. You just put the code in.
It's super easy.
You can redeem everything on. You don't even have to go. I never even go on my Switch. I have the redeem Nintendo thing bookmarked. I just click it, sign in, just put the code in. There you go. Keep shopping.
For anyone who doesn't do that, though, really consider doing the two-step login, because that will save your butt one day.
I know it saves.
It doesn't. It's not any hassle to log in. Like it's
saved mine with Sony.
Step. It really is like a peace of mind.
It saved mine with Sony too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who are the folks that make the Fortnite? What's their service?
Epic. Or
yeah, Epic.
Games, yeah.
So that one gets hit all the time. I have two-factor on it, and I get an email every 2 or 3 days. Somebody is trying to access it. Yeah, I get it all the time. And that happened to me on PlayStation for like 2 years. I had two-factor turned on because I would just keep getting these text messages routinely, just somebody's trying to log in. Here's your code. I'm like, I'm not even. I remember I at one point it got so bad that I was getting them 5, 6, 7 times an hour.
That's bad.
And I would take screenshots and just post it in Discord and be like, look, this is what's happening to my account. But I think
if you didn't have it, you could have been hacked.
that's true. And I think what did it, as I left that on, it eventually started to fade away. And then when the name changed, I changed the names and I released all of my old consoles, right? So I released my Vita and my PlayStation 3 and everything. I've never had it happen since then for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
In specific Latin American and Caribbean countries, limited Nintendo eShops for Wii U and Nintendo 3DS will be shuttered July 31st, meaning game code redemption, re-downloading games you already own will be turned off. Now, this doesn't affect us, but that day's coming. That day's coming. They're looking into shuttering it. And I've already hacked my stuff, so I'm good. But I'm going to say this to all of you that don't believe in hacking. If there are games, legacy games, that you want to have access to, and I think the Wii U is specifically one of them, because there are going to be games that are locked to Wii U forever, and you're never going to be able to play them again. They're not going to get ported over, especially a lot of like that virtual WiiWare stuff that you can get on Wii U through, the Wii service. Like, you've got to get it. Like, that's the best way to, and I know you can get it on a Wii, but like you can't play it through HDMI on an HD TV on a Wii like you can a Wii U. And I still think at these days where you can pick up a Wii U for $60, $75, $100, it's literally worth that alone just to save as a legacy console, because there's so much back compat stuff on that box that I just don't expect will ever make its way to Switch. And once they turn these stores off, that's it. Like they're gone. It's and 3DS for that matter too. There's a lot I was talking about these 3D classic stuff. We're not going to get that anywhere else. Those are just going to be gone.
Yeah.
So get ready.
But it has to happen eventually, I guess.
The only other way to do it would be get a black market like me. Download the stuff and do it yourself.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm tempted. I'm already getting the emulator stuff on PC. I'm like, these games are gonna go away eventually.
They're gonna go away. That's it for our news this week. Rebecca, would you hit us with a couple questions?
Ooh, okay. Man, we have questions from a couple weeks ago that we're definitely not getting to all of these today. I do want to, this is actually a recent question that I think is kind of relevant given the fact that we might not get a direct for some time, is knowing, Piper wants to know what's Nintendo's big holiday game this year. Normally we would have known by now what the big holiday game is.
Or June, by the end of June.
Yeah, usually they announce that right around this time, what we can expect to see. What do you think it's going to be?
I mean, if the Mario news is to be believed, which we all think it is, that's got to be it. I don't know if there's bigger news. I mean, it's not Breath of the Wild, right? We can all agree it's not. Like, I'd be shocked if it was. I don't think it's Breath of the Wild.
Definitely
not. It's not Metroid Prime, even though I'm going to say Metroid Prime 4 is not bigger news than a remake of 64.
Yeah,
or Sunshine. I know it's like a bigger game and it's a new game and all that, but these are seminal games for so many people. Like, generations of people have played Mario 64. That's going to be huge, and especially if done well, which you got to imagine if they're putting all this pomp and circumstance and everything, that is what I was hoping for. It is this huge remake type deal. So if that's the case, I mean, Mario's Mario, most iconic character in the world of video games. Like, it's harder to get better than that.
You're wrong.
Sorry, Piper. I mean, I think what are they gonna do? Like, they if it's not Zelda, and even Zelda, I mean, Zelda's not Mario. Like, I love Zelda, and to me, Zelda is huge. But like,
do you think they have something kind of hidden in their back pockets, like an Mario Odyssey 2, or just something that like they can pull out and be like, here it is?
I mean, I thought so before we got all the Mario news. I had been saying that.
Next question that I'm going to pick.
I thought it was going to be Donkey Kong. I felt like Donkey Kong was next. Like, we got Yoshi, we got Kirby, here comes Donkey Kong. But it makes me think that after we got the Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze port, that became less likely. But you're not going to release a Donkey Kong right next to a bunch of Marios. That doesn't make any sense. So it's got to be something different. Now, it could be like its own IP, like a brand new thing. It could be a sports title, a Mario sports title. But none of those things, none of these options are bigger than Mario 64 Remake. Like,
That's true.
Like we're talking about, like people, you see how excited people are remaking Final Fantasy VII, and how excited everybody is to play this game. Like that's Mario 64 Remake. It is on that type of pedestal. You're talking about one of the greatest video games of all time. Search anybody's top 100 video game list. Mario 64 is on every one of them. Whether you like it or not, it is. So...
What do you think, Garrett? What's our big holiday game?
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with Donnie that the Mario remakes and ports are most probable in this
Especially
fall.
if they're a package.
If they're a package.
Like a bundle, it's going to sell like crazy.
Yeah, I would like to see what's the level of porting and remasters we're going to get.
Sure.
There's a little bit of specifics there. If Mario 64, if it's as remastered as we think it is, like if it's up to the Final Fantasy VII level, maybe not like breaking up to 3 or 4 games or whatever, but like enhanced graphics, maybe different characters, maybe a little bit more recast dialogue and a little bit like that.
That's a good point for you to temper my excitement, because if it is just a straight port, obviously that's not going to be like...
I don't think they would do that.
Yeah.
But all of the news that leaked out didn't say that, right? And none of them said that's what it was. They all said...
Can I segue into a related question?
Sure.
Sean wants to know, at what point should I stop hoping for the Super Mario 64/Sunshine/Galaxy remasters? The uncertainty is killing him. Is he filled with false hope?
I'm going to let you guys answer, because I think I'm right there with him. I'm filled with all the false hope. I want all the pretty graphics and to be as real as possible.
Sean, stop hoping right now. If you stop hoping right now, then you'll have much lower expectations.
That's my philosophy.
And you're going to be so impressed, and you're going to cry with joy and happiness.
I have such a pessimistic outlook about all of that. Just set the bar as low as possible. If it doesn't happen, you can't be disappointed. If it does happen, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Garrett just smashed Sean's hopes with a hammer. He's like, absolutely not.
I've always had doubts about that one, but
Metroid can't be ready. No. Animal Crossing can't be ready. It's not going to be Smash and Kart, right?
Donkey Kong, it could be it, but Retro Studios made Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. They're making Metroid Prime 4 right now. Maybe Metroid Prime Trilogy, that would be cool, but that's not going to be the big...
That's not a holiday. That doesn't sell to families. Yeah,
and then the JRPGs, you got Bravely Default 2, and they cover that basis.
What sells to families that we could get?
Pokemon,
maybe. Oh, spinoff.
But we're getting the expansions. We don't have a new Pokemon game coming.
Yeah,
and they did the spinoff. And it's like I said, we're not getting Kart. We're not getting.
They could do the DLC, and they could still come out with like a Gen 2 Let's Go Johto this year.
Yes,
that would sell to an entirely different audience, and that's probably what it'll be. That's my guess.
That would be big. That would be big.
Because that's like not easy for them to make, but that's not on the level of a lot of other things that we were just talking about. They can put together the same engine that they did with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Sure.
Put a Gen 2 sticker on it, and that's your holiday game.
I'm buying it
out in November.
I'm buying the hell out of that game.
That's what it is.
And Game Freak has multiple teams, right? They have their secret experimental team that does other non-Pokemon games, and then they got the main head honcho team. So
it's going to be the return of Labo. Like that's like their big thing, or Ring Fit Adventure 2. Like I said,
I would be down with that.
But it's not going to be big, right?
No,
that's what you're saying. What's the big holiday title?
What's
the Pokemon Sword Shield moment? What's what's the big the Odyssey moment? What's the big go getter for Christmas? None of those are going to fit the bill.
It's going to be
Let's go.
Yeah,
it's going to be Mario. Whatever this Mario collection is, I'm telling you. Now, here's a good thing. Do you think it could be a third-party game? It doesn't have to be a Nintendo game.
I mean,
maybe.
So I do think there will be something like that. I don't think that was necessarily his question, though.
Sure. No, I get you.
Yeah.
It's getting Sean, listen to me, buddy. I love you. It's going to be Mario. We're going to play these Mario games. It's going to be freaking awesome.
Stop hoping, Sean.
It's going to be Mario. Well, that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in the chat and I'm going to hang out with Sean while he streams playing Mario while I play Mario. And we're just going to talk about playing Mario together. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for this.
I'll be held away playing my Bravely Default 2.
Oh,
maybe I'll be playing these Mario games for the first time.
You know what? You know what it is? You know what the big, huge must-have game? No More Heroes 3.
There we
Boom,
go.
Son. It's going to be massive.
It's going to take over.
I'm so excited for that game too, but I feel like there's like 16 people in the world there to go get that game.
I feel like the same thing with Deadly Premonition too.
I bought that game.
Well, I know you did. I saw that. Give me the elevator pitch because I saw the first game.
Oh, did you hear my little review cast with it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so this is a great story. So when they announced it on Switch, our Twitter blew up. Literally, Shack Life. Donnie has to play Deadly Premonition. It's a Donnie game. Hashtag Donnie game. You got to play it. Mm-hmm. I remember this game because they're right. It is hashtag Donnie game, which is why I remember it. When it came out, one of the most diverse, poorly reviewed games in the history of games. I had a whole thing where me and Kevin went over it and talked about it because Kevin was like, it's a good game. And I'm like, Kevin, it literally has like a 2 from IGN. Yeah. Like you can't.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We're not talking 5s and 6s. We're talking 0s, 1s. God. People calling it trash. It is bad. Objectively, has bad graphics. Has like bad controls. Terrible map. Like it doesn't work well, except for the fact that the writing and the acting totally pulls it off. And it's Twin Peaks. Like it is Twin Peaks. If you want the elevator pitch, it's Twin Peaks. If you watch Twin Peaks and you thought it was cool, you probably like Deadly Premonition. If you can stand some of its... Dude, when it came out on PS3 360, and it looked like an early PS2 game.
It looked like garbage.
It looked garbage when it came out, and now it's coming out. But this new one has a definitely more stylized. Kind of looks like a Telltale game from art style. But it doesn't matter because it's... Dude, like this guy just starts talking to his coffee. And like he has visions in his coffee, and he starts talking to himself about this. It's stuff trippy. Like that happens. This guy, he plants women. He plants plants in women.
Yeah,
that's a real thing that happens.
Oh, okay.
Like a tree plants it in her. Like
why?
Because it's a freaking weird game. That's why it's really, really weird. But my long journey of that is I just played it this fall. I played through it and I fell in love with it. And not only did I fall in love with it, it made me watch Twin Peaks for the first time. I never watched Twin Peaks. That's a little bit before me. And everybody was like, "This is Twin Peaks," and I was like, "Well, if I like this and I like that," and I did. They were right. I was like, "It is." So I was kind of in the mood for it. So I don't know. We'll see. It's a cult classic. I don't think it's a must-have title. It is a timed exclusive. Cool. And it is in this no news window, if you're believing this. But I'm not believing that we'll go from the end of June to August and not have stuff. Like indies will be there. There's tons of things we're waiting on. Like we read them off. Like I read them off a couple weeks ago, right? I shouted out 50, 60 titles that I'm looking forward to. Mm-hmm. A handful of them are bound to drop. Before September. So, yeah. Totally but I'm eager to tell you all what I think of Deadly Premonition 2.
Me too, because it's on my fantasy critic list, that fantasy football type of thing that I've got going with video games. And it's my counter pick. I wanted to review pretty bad.
Well,
so I can get points.
That's his counter pick. He wants it to go badly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that makes
I want
sense.
to go badly. Yes.
When you said, I thought you meant like your counter pick. When you said that to me, I haven't seen the systems. When you said it to me, what I thought was everybody expects it to go badly, so I want it to go well. And I was like, this is a terrible idea. Don't do this.
Other way around.
I'm hoping it is. Here's my hopes for Deadly Premonition 2. The hope is it's modernized and improved in the fact that it looks well, it plays better, it navigates well, menus are good. And it still keeps the zaniness of the story. My fear is that they think the reason that people like it is because it's bad, and then they release a bad game. Like if this game, I had to pull up like a guide on how to navigate the town and stuff because the map was like so awful and the driving. Boy. Yeah, so if it's that, I'm not going to be as good on it. The fact that I spent $50 on this one versus the 18 or whatever I spent on the other one. So I'll be a little bit. I expect more from a title today than I do from a port that wasn't like. There's a part of it when I played it, I was like, well, this is a game from 2006, 4 generations ago, so I'll cut it some slack. Now that it's new, it better not do that again. If it does that again, I'll be a little bit more critical.
Right.
So.
Cool.
How are we on time? Do we have more time for questions, or do we want to call it there?
Let's do one more.
Okay. I like this question. I think this was from like 2 weeks ago. John wanted to know, what are your favorite types of games to play today versus when you were younger?
Ooh. So when I was younger, I played a lot of sports titles, shooters, and then like Zelda. I didn't really play anything else like Zelda. I just kind of just played Zelda. Now I still play a lot of shooters in Zelda, but I definitely play way more things today than I ever did when I was younger. I play across all kinds of different consoles, and I almost try to play. I feel like I play everything, or try to at least. I play like all of the major.
You do seem to play a variety of games. It seems like.
I think I play a lot of games. I don't know if I play a variety of games, like genres.
Seems like you do.
You think so? So I don't really I don't do JRPGs that much anymore. I never really have. I've always had select ones that I've done, but I never got into Final Fantasy. So there's nothing that makes me want to play Final Fantasy now. But I do play Xenoblade, and I will be playing Xenoblade in a month. I'm very excited to do that. But I think just more than ever we have way more action adventure type games. So we have Assassin's Creed, and we have The Last of Us, and we have Uncharted, and we've got Horizon, and we've got Zelda, and there's a Far Cry. There's a bunch of those, and I just play all of those. I'm just taking all of those in as much as possible. So, I don't think I play as many shooters as I used to. I used to be like that kid, man. Sports and shooters all the time. NFL, Madden, Call of Duty, Battlefield. I used to do all of that. Now I can't even. People are all get excited like new Battlefield, Destiny. I'm like I don't have the time for any of this. Call of Duty, seasons, multiple packs. It's just so much more convoluted than it ever been. It's like
it feels a lot of the same too. It's just like reskinned.
Oh,
I could be wrong. I don't play.
No multiplayer for sure. It's just
Yeah.
it's just new environments and stuff like that. But I mean, to be critical, you could really say that about most games.
That's true.
Zelda's mostly the same, but reskinned.
That's true.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
True.
Same thing. I feel like I'm very similar to you, Donnie. Yeah, younger, I played more shooters, not sports. I've never been a sports person guy, but a lot more multiplayer games. Whatever my friends played, I played.
Yeah,
and we just played all the time. The biggest thing in middle school, Call of Duty Zombies.
Oh yeah, Dude, Zombies was great.
Yeah, Black Ops 1. We played the crap out of it for so long. And then Super Smash Brothers, that was a big thing for me when I was young as well. I'm playing Project M during college was great. But yeah, very specific games that are multiplayer. Call of Duty, Pokemon was the only outlier there as well. But yeah, now I play, as you could tell, a lot more strategy RPG games. I've been opened up to a lot more, as Donnie said, first person or third person open world action RPGs. Even though they take a ton of time, I really enjoy them. I like to get lost into worlds like that. I think Skyrim was my first door open to that kind of single player kind of world there. But yeah, I think single player is more of my game now than what it used to be.
I used to play a lot of horror games, and I love horror movies. And I've got the giant Chucky thing and all this stuff off the side of the wall here. I'm not as into horror games as I used to be, not at all. And I think it's because when you talk about feeling the same, I feel like they're a bit tired. And I'm always kind of looking for I think that's why I love PT. PT felt fresh and scary.
Oh, it was so good.
There's basically two kinds of horror games. They're resource collectathons, where you got to go and collect all the things. It's like your Resident Evil style. I actually think I enjoy the fact that they've gone more action-y with it. And then there's the Outlast style, where you're just defenseless and you constantly run away from people.
Right.
And those two concepts have been duplicated and copied and regurgitated over and over and over again. And it is certainly when we get out of those, or in the indie space, I think probably does horror better than most, like the Coma and things that I've played, a lot of psychological horror and things like that. I really get into more of that, and I just think I don't want to sound like I'm putting the games down. I think it's because it's new. It feels new. It doesn't feel so, I've said it a bunch, but when I played Resident Evil 2, it's just I just don't want to keep doing this anymore. It's just it's a lot of the, but I grew up on that stuff. I played, when I was little, I played all of that. Dino Crisis, all of it. Silent Hill, anything like that I played. Clock Tower, all of that. That was such a big part of me growing up. And it's like, as the years went on, I don't feel like they changed enough or modernized to keep with me. So I stopped, you know.
I think the success of horror games is quite intriguing recently, because it's really, I feel like Resident Evil has been, you know, a huge comeback with them, with 7 and Resident Evil 2 remake, and then also Evil Within. They're just nailing that vibe right there as well.
I'm hoping the new Resident Evil that's been long rumored, I'm hoping it's fully VR. And I think that might be the next kind of new thing to grab me.
And a handful of indies they're doing a really good job actually with the horror stuff.
I also feel like there's not enough storytelling in the horror space, and I think that's the part that misses me. It's always like there's this bad dude who you can't kill, who will totally kill you. Run away from him. It's like, but why am I running away from him? Like, what's his backstory? Like, let's set up the world. That seems to be missing a lot, in my opinion.
For me, I feel like mine haven't really changed a whole lot. I grew up on my gaming revolving around Zelda and Pokemon and whatever other Nintendo games that were mixed in that my parents would, you know, bring home for me. And that's kind of what drove like when I was going to get a new Nintendo console, when a new Zelda game or a Pokemon game came out.
Sure.
With any other Nintendo mixed in. I'm still like that today, but now I branch out a little bit more than I did before because I have my own wallet now. And I tend to seek out anything that has a really engaging story and really engaging characters, and anything that will crush me emotionally.
You know, I used to think that I was like an RPG type of player because I played Pokemon and Fire Emblem and a Xenoblade. And like I grow up and I meet more people, I'm like, oh, I'm not an RPG player at all.
People always describe Pokemon as like the gateway RPG. I don't find that to be true at all. I grew up with Pokemon and have never gravitated towards RPGs.
Yeah, I haven't played like Final Fantasy or those like really into the JRPG stuff, but Pokemon was like that was it for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think Pokemon led me to Advance Wars and Fire Emblem, maybe.
Cool.
I mean, I think I started like definitely went that way. I was more open to doing things like that. But yeah, like the old like the JRPG like Carol, you know, she takes 7 or 8 of those down a year. I'd be lucky if I get to the end of one.
Lord.
Right.
And there are games I even love, and I'm like,
I was so narrow-minded when I was young to the point of if the Game Boy cartridge was not colored, then I wouldn't play it.
Oh.
Right? I was like,
look at you, little snob.
That's terrible.
I was like, it has to be a colored cartridge or else I'm not going to play it. And then I saw Donkey Kong Country Remix on Game Boy Advance, and I was like,
Well,
okay, great.
I think, you know, maybe the reason why I never got into Mario, you know, why I don't really play it a whole lot now is because I didn't really ever have those games growing up. They were never bought for me when I was little. I never got into them. So maybe that did shape what I still play today. I don't know.
Lucky you. You get to replay them all.
That's true. If we get the remasters, I have a lot to look forward to this year, don't I? We'll see.
Sean,
we'll see.
Don't hope for it.
Hope for it. It's happening, Sean. We're going to do it.
Doubtful.
My sports gaming's also like just fallen off a cliff. I bought NCAA, I bought basketball, football, baseball for a little bit, golf, of course, Tiger Woods. I did all of that every year. Now I just have EA Access and I barely play Madden. It's like I buy EA Access every year and it's like I barely play Madden. That's all I use it for. So wrestling games, that's another part of it. Wrestling games have just went in the toilet the last decade. That's one franchise that's really, we didn't talk about that. You know, they announced the NBA or the WWE 2K whatever game the Playgrounds team is doing. That game looks like trash. I didn't want to say it. Like, I didn't want to be so mean about it. Like, when they, like, I was like, I'll be open to it and I'll keep playing. I kept watching it. And I was like, no, this looks terrible. This doesn't
Isn't
look good.
there like one good like wrestling game now that people are talking about? It's like Pro Wrestling or something like
Fire
that?
Pro Wrestling? I don't like that one either. But Fire Pro Wrestling, I'll admit, is good. It is a good game. It has a ton of customization options. It's amazing. It's like this little retro fighter. But the problem that I hate about the game is very simple. You have to breathe in the game.
Oh.
Like, you have to maintain your breath. And if you like do a move, your breath depletes and you've got to build up your breath before you can do another move. And I'm like, I never want to play a wrestling game like this. Like that simple thing, I'm like, makes me never want to play the game.
Yeah, no.
But we have that Retromania game coming out. If you guys haven't heard about it, that game's coming out. It's like a remake of like old retro like arcade wrestling games. That should be fun. But the 2K one, I mean, I'm really being mean to it because it's kind of like All Stars, and WWE All Stars is great. It came out last gen. It was on 3DS. It's awesome. But this one is the Playgrounds team, right? There's the same folks that ported The Witcher and World War Z and stuff. So like they're busy. They have a lot to do. Do their women character models look awful? Like just awful. They look like they're just like squares.
Polygon?
They just look like dudes. To be honest with you, they just look like the male characters with like a kind of feminine face.
Like Skyrim.
Charlotte looks like Triple H. Like you can't tell the difference between the two. It's like, man. And I don't know. Like I still play 2K Playgrounds, but I was pretty critical in the first one. It did not hit the mark for me. The second one is like they kind of cleaned it all up and just released the second game. I hope we don't run into an issue like this. And the one thing that I'm somewhat concerned about is like they lock a lot of stuff behind paywall. That it's you know what? That's unfair. They lock a lot of stuff behind progress or a paywall. And like NBA 2K Playgrounds, you could play with like 3 players. There's like 300 characters, but you can only play with like 3 until you unlock them all. And it took a long time, or you just paid them more money and they would unlock them.
Gosh.
I would expect they're probably going to do the same thing. I think that's the business model.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I'll probably, you know what? And I've said all these mean things. I'll probably still get it. I like wrestling games, so I'll probably still try it. But I don't have high hopes after that first announcement. Maybe it's early. And that was another thing I was thinking because I'm sorry, I'm talking way too long.
We go on with wrestling.
I know you guys probably, I don't know if you guys don't do the wrestling, right?
No.
So I haven't had really a chance to talk about this to anybody, but the reason they're doing this game, I think, and I'm fairly certain, is the WWE 2K game that they make, right, was trash last year. They lost their developer, they put another developer in, they tried to release it, and it was awful. Like, really bad, like, comically bad. You can YouTube it. WWE 2K20, and you see how people float and they fly off and the ring flip. I mean, it is bad. It is real bad. So I think what they've done is they're pushing this game off a year to get fixed, and they need something to fill it. And they were like, what can we do? And those folks, or the 2K people were like, Saber was like, hey, we made a big head basketball game. We can do a big head wrestling game. They were like, do it. I think that's what happened. I think that's why the footage didn't look stellar at first, because I'm wondering if it's kind of like a rush, license job. It might be.
Probably.
It might be. Okay, guys, we talked way too long. Hopefully you enjoyed Extra Long Shack. We're not going to have an episode next week just because we did 2 episodes this week. No, I'm joking with you. Obviously, we'll be back.
Can I make one Animal Crossing comment that I meant to say earlier?
Sure.
Just to kind of end us on. I did get confirmation from a professional Animal Crossing player, Chewy Plays Nintendo, that a certain character is pronounced Leaf.
Oh! Mic drop! I can't end Shaq any better than that, man. She just backed that up completely.
What is this reputation of professional Animal Crossing player? What is even that reputation?
My mouth.
Is that what their LinkedIn profile says?
You can look it up.
Professional Animal Crossing player.
Are they paid by Nintendo or something?
My mouth.
Sponsored? Oh my god.
It is Leaf.
That was pretty epic. I love that. That's fantastic. Well, that'll do it for us tonight. Good night, Kooplings.
Bye-bye.